Welcome to Hidden Treasures. I'm Pastor Mark Biltz of El Shaddai Ministries, and we're excited today about looking deeper into the Feast of Yom Kippur. Last week, as we were looking at it, we were discovering how these festivals seem to all fall at particular times. As a matter of fact, they're falling at specific times. Even prophetically, they're going to fall at specific times. If you would look at this clip that I have up here, I have a picture of grapes, this big grape harvest. Well, one thing that you'll know for sure is as we look at the past often repeats itself. History always repeats itself. So when we look at how the fact that Jesus died on the festival of Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and that was related to the barley harvest. Then, what do we find? 50 days later, we have the Feast of Shavuot, or the Feast of Pentecost, and that is all about the wheat harvest. Then what do? We go to the next festival, which is in the 7th month. We have the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, and the Feast of Tabernacles. And what do we find? But it is centered around the fruit harvest. And so here in Revelation, let's take a look at chapter 14 and verse 18. And what do we find? It says, another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. Well, I tell you what, I firmly believe that the events of Revelation are going to unfold around the feast of the 7th month. Just like you know, if you live in an area where you have all 4 seasons, you know when the leaves start falling off the trees, that fall has arrived. And you know when all the trees are completely bare and snow is falling, winter has arrived. And you know in the spring, when all the flowers start blossoming, you know spring has arrived. And the same thing with summer. Well, this is what is important to realize prophetically. And when you understand your Hebrew roots, you are really going to get this. When you read in Revelation about her grapes are fully ripe, you're immediately thinking, okay, this is going to happen in the 7th month because this is when the grapes are fully ripe. And so there's this clue, this connection that we need to have. And so God had everything centered around different harvest festivals because the events literally were going to take place during the time of that harvest. Even Yeshua said the harvest is the end of the world. And so we need to know which harvest he was talking about. And we've been looking at the book of Revelation and how Yom Kippur is an event that we find in the book of Revelation. In the past, we've talked about how the Feast of Trumpets, obviously, we know all about trumpets in the book of Revelation. And last week, we showed how Yom Kippur is also within the book of Revelation. And that's where we're going to pick it up again this morning. So let's take a look at Leviticus, at the Yom Kippur service that we find in chapter 16. And then let's go to the book of Revelation and see if we can find a Yom Kippur service going on in the book of Revelation. In Leviticus chapter 16, verse 16 and 17, here's what it says concerning the high priest. It says, he shall make an atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel and because of their transgressions and all their sins. And so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remains among them in the midst of their uncleanness. Now watch verse 17 here in Leviticus. It says, there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goes in to make an atonement in the holy place until he comes out and has made an atonement for himself, for his household, and for all the congregation of Israel. So 2 things I want to emphasize here. Number 1, no one, it says specifically, no man should be in the tabernacle of the congregation but the high priest when he goes into the Holy of Holies and into the holy place until he comes out. And I want you to notice it's for personally, it's for himself, for his family, and the congregation of Israel.
If you enjoyed this clip, please feel free to check out the full version in the link located in the description panel below. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. As always, help yourself to the diverse array of teachings located on this YouTube channel or on our website at glc.us.com.